offices are already logged in.
Not like in here anymore.
I'm logged in as superintendent's office here.
So they use the regular password.
Yes, so on your login, it'll be sanjay.dave and then your password. And then you can just launch a.
Yeah. Forget I need them and so.
Do that online, huh? So captions. Yeah, these are on.
All right, so we did not have a closed session today, so there is nothing to report out. And I would like a motion for someone to approve the agenda. Can I have a motion? Okay, motion by Catherine and second by Esme. Student board members, you okay with the agenda today? I approve.
I approve.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, if you can raise your hand or say aye.
Hey, Bob, it's not letting me join.
Okay.
I think we vote. Did you go to that? Usually if they on here.
Before we go back. Let's go back to that. And so we'll have it, let's move it to maybe after consolidation. Oh, the signs will be perfect. Okay, so actually, I'm gonna ask Chris to make a motion. So actually, we're gonna go back to that. Okay. So, one is the student of the month will be recognized after the business action items. Okay. And the business action items, the order will be reversed. We're gonna do the sign presentation first. Followed by the financial. Yeah, so we'll vote on it. So, all right, so bear with us tonight as we get through this. Looks like we're gonna have to amend the agenda, so I'm gonna ask for a motion for an amended agenda for today. So Esme, would you like to?
Sure. So I move that we amend the agenda. We're going to have the student board member reports after our
Or
business.
the student of the month, student of the month.
Student of the month report, sorry, yeah. Student of the month after the business action items, and then move 17.2, the science department presentation before 17.1.
Great, wonderful. Thank you, Esme. Second by Theta. So now for the amended agenda for today's meeting. Do you approve, Christoph?
Yes, I approve.
Great, thanks, Sadie.
I approve.
Thanks, Sadie. And for the board members, how do you vote? You can just show raise your hand, but you can vote on here.
Or can we raise her?
Either one. It's nice to raise your hand so I can see it. So I guess because if somebody voted no, I wouldn't know, right? Unless I see it, unless it comes up, like it didn't pass. Right, so I'm not sure how that works.
Because I'm all good with project. And I will do yes.
Well, Catherine hasn't voted. Is that why it's red?
Yeah.
So you told me I'm supposed to vote on this or what? You said to raise my hand, so I did.
It took us a couple of times. Practice it.
We might be here, so very, very.
Yeah, for that. We'll work out.
So I didn't do this before.
Yeah. It's okay. We just have to scroll you up.
Oh, I have to be in the top box.
All right. Yay. Gives you this.
All right, now I'm getting.
Perfect. All right. Great. Thank you very much. All right. Next item we have is so no report out. There was no closed session. So next item. So I'm just going through. So board member reports. Do board members have anything? Please, Catherine.
I do, and I missed the meeting in the interim, so I didn't tell you this before, but it was delightful to go back to school night. Really delightful, both Mountain View and Proper High School. I'm putting mine this, so this, but the students are all very excited that we're helping, like Sadie at the one booth, and the different parents sports parents, a lot of sports parents at Mount View High School. And it's very exciting to see all the parents and all the students helping the parents get to the different places on Blossom. And the presentations were great, and the principal gave them the rah-rah speeches and stuff like that. So it was great.
Thank you, Councilman. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have two.
So we had our Family Partnership Council this past week or last week, where we got to just review progress. And so big shout out to Michelle Bissonette for putting it together. I'm sure it took a lot of work, but I really enjoyed the conversation at my table. What really came up was a lot of parent to parent outreach, which I look forward to seeing some action around, because I think that's going to be a key way to really diversify who's both part of the council, but just who's showing up to all our various family engagement opportunities. And then we also had our facilities committee meeting this week. And so big thanks to Mike. There's a lot that and a big rush that I'm sure came right before the start of the new school year. And just want to appreciate just the balance of all the feedback that I'm sure you're getting as you know, new buildings. I don't think you can really know sort of where some of the kinks to work out are until they're really in full operation. And so just appreciate both the high school staff also for your flexibility and patience as you communicate probably some of that feedback over to Mike, and just really look forward for us to officially do some grand opening so that the community also gets to see the great buildings.
I also attended the Family Partnership Council. Big shout out again to Michelle. She does a fabulous job organizing a complex set of topics and keeping us talking. Our table actually talked a lot about equity and mental health. And there are some interesting ideas that I've never heard before. And that's always really cool. There would be pretty they would require a lot of work if they were executed. So it's something I think we'd have to discuss, but I was really excited to hear them. And I really hope that this council really continues to generate those kind of ideas, because that's what we're here for is, we're doing great as a district, but we can always improve or continuous improve in district. And in some areas, particularly with our ELD students and our underrepresented students, we do need new ideas because we've been trying things and, we need some fresh ideas on how to tier 1 and tier 2 MTSS too. So I think hearing fresh ideas and exploring those, that's where it starts. Obviously, we're out steamer, so nothing happens without a study and making sure we're doing the right thing. But I felt really energized by the engagement and the seriousness with which people were taking the ideas.
Anybody else? Thank you. Next, student board member report. So, Christoph, would you like to go first?
Sure. So our school year,
Your mic.
our school year kicked off with tremendous energy and enthusiasm, thanks to the vibrant events and activities that have marked a return to the classrooms. One standout event was the Back to School Blast Off organized by MVHS ASB. Many teachers volunteered to be a part of the dunk tank, which was a really huge hit with the students. Our school spirit soared to new heights during our inaugural home football game. The stands were filled with proud parents, students, and community members, all rallying behind our talented football players. We extend our gratitude to Live Oak High School as their generous donation of $1,000 to the Daniels family, which was extremely thoughtful. In addition to our exciting events, we successfully conducted our annual fire drill last week, cleaning the entire campus in a remarkable 14 minutes. Furthermore, our school gained recognition on the national stage when NBC's Today Show visited Miss Hancock's civics class. The focus of their visit was the fascinating integration of artificial intelligence in education, and many of our MVHS students had the opportunity to share their thoughts and insights on this innovative topic.
Thank you. Any questions for Christoph? Sadie?
All right, thank you. Last week, the MVLA Foundation hosted the New Family Coffee, where LAHS parents had the chance to meet district staff and have their question answered by teachers, district staff, and school administration. Last Friday, our student community leaders class hosted a grade mixer before our first home football game against Cappuccino High School. Blue Crew provided spirit gear and a dress-up theme, whiteout. And although we did not do as well as we hoped athletically, we had a very, very spirited student section and a lot of fun. The first issue of the Talon, our student newspaper, came out last Friday as well, with articles from a variety of beats and topics. At break and lunch, you could see students passing out papers in the quad and students reading them on their way to class. Earlier today, counselors led tours of the new student service building to all freshmen, having them get to know the resources available, where they can find their counselors, and how they can take advantage of our new building. Looking forward, ASB is planning their annual spike ball tournament, which will be hosted in 2 weeks. Our goal is to get 64 teams signed up and include 128 students in the tournament. As we prepare for homecoming, ASB is looking at how to reach out to new people and make homecoming a more inclusive event for all students of all grade levels, working with our principal, advisors, and students.
And what week is homecoming?
Homecoming week is in a while. It is, I'm pretty sure, it's the last weekend of October. I think it's the week of the 22nd, but I'm not sure.
Thank you, Sadie. Any questions for Sadie? All right. We can move on to super, and we're gonna skip this one, right?
Yes.
So we move on to-
Okay, yes, thank you, thank you. All right. Okay, since our last board meeting, we have a lot to share, and a lot of activities have been mentioned by our student board members. So thank you for doing so. I did want to start out just to share that today has been somewhat of a solemn day, where many of us have been reminiscing about where we were in 2001 on September 11th. As educators, most of us, when we were discussing that, we were at school or on our way. And so just want to note that this is just a day of remembrance and a day to really be grateful for having a community that supports us in this way. Thank you to Principal Glazier, who wrote a lovely message regarding September 11th. And it's just a day that means a lot to those of us who are taking care of children on that day. So as you can see, these children in this picture look pretty big. This is Los Altos High School. They're getting ready for the game, as you mentioned, against Cupertino. As we continue to align our goals and to look at our focus, we are continuing to work and grow, but we definitely do have academic excellence within MVLA. We're also having the conversation about equity. And the thing about equity is that it's one of those things that you may not know what you don't know about it. And so we're always looking to see where we can make sure we have an equitable experience, equitable access, and equitable success. And then lastly, engagement at all levels. So I appreciate the comments about the family partnership and the engagement of the community, the engagement within our classrooms, and the engagement that Sadie and Christoph mentioned that they promote outside of the classroom with extracurriculars. So some of the pictures of some of the things that we talked about. The coffee was a great success, and it was even more fun because we were in our new building, so we were able to celebrate and see the different venues that we have for meeting, and they have a lot of possibilities, and it was just a wonderful morning, both at Mountain View and at Los Altos High School. And we also, you can see within the pictures, we're able to hear from the foundation about the supports and the partnership that we have with them, as well as hear from our principals and their staff. And so really the highlight, I believe, is for the freshman parents to hear from the assistant principals, the counselors, and the principals. So very successful event.
Also wanted to share that really being outside and enjoying the Friday night lights was just a spectacular weekend. Our school sites are there from morning until late. And so this is sometimes a tough season, but it's really a way for them to bond and connect with students who are there within these activities. You can see some of the pictures here. And then also I wanted to share that September 26th, which is a board meeting, we are having our annual college and career fair. Now, the good news about that is you can see it's from 5 to 7. So, and it will be for the first time, I think, in a long time at Mountain View High School. So it's right across the parking lot. So we want to kind of go and then come back over here. But I don't know if this video is able to pop up. You might be able to hear a little. Yeah, thank you. Let's see if it works. We're having so many wonderful videos this year, I have to say. I think we might need. Okay. All right. Short and sweet. And thank you to Laura Duran for that presentation. Also wanted to share Alta Vista this year. They're doing so many wonderful and exciting things. And you can see just even when we were over there for the meeting Wednesday night, they always have some celebration of students going on. So balloons were there and there are different honor roll events. And so you can see here a picture of the staff, ASB leadership, children's room for back to school night as well, which is a great addition. I think that encouraged greater attendance. And then the different presentations at the back to school night and the week 4 honor roll. And if my eyes are not deceiving me, it looks like that group is getting larger and larger. So that's wonderful to see. So thank you to Suzanne for her work at Alta Vista, and keep the pictures coming. Wanted to also share Freestyle. Just a beautiful piece of art you can see here on the left, and a couple of things that they've been working on now that they have this beautiful building with the media center and the green. It's not even a screen, it's a wall. You can see an exercise here that they're doing with the green screen. And then also below, you can also see the visit they had to MoMA, and it's one of my favorite museums. So it's great to see, and they can really see themselves within this art and see how their art really does compare favorably. Wanted to also share some of the events going on. Water polo is in full swing, and at Los Altos, the Broken Box is, you can see they're practicing up here and getting ready for their next presentations, as well as other activities. And then to share at Mountain View, we had, just another moment for the football team to recognize the Daniels family last Friday night, and to have just to share their respect for Lucinda Daniels and the family. And also you can see in the middle, as I believe you mentioned, the Today Show was there speaking to Mountain View High School staff and students about artificial intelligence. And then just, the thing that comes to mind here is other duties as assigned. Principal Glazier is also making flowers for the float. But our leadership on all of our campuses is really extraordinary. Sharing as well, the Spartan Cafe every Wednesday is open, and this really uses our new it's kind of cafe facilities that face out onto the field at Mountain View High School. And if you like mochas or different types of coffees, they do deliver, and so you can order online. So wanting to just show the faces behind the work. And thank you to our teachers who coordinate this program. And then, as mentioned, you can see some photos from the parent engagement night. And our table talked about parents talking to parents as well, as a great entree into feeling comfortable and welcomed on the campus. And really enjoyed the conversations and all of the different tables and listening and looking at the notes. And our group also shared just how that feeling of, GPA and how that pressure for grades weighs on students, and really, how do we bridge that gap, and how do we talk to universities about being more explicit and clear about what they are looking for and what students can accept. So really building those college career partnerships. And some familiar faces in those photos. And this table down here, I see the PTSA president of Mountain View High School laughing. So it was fun as well. This week on Wednesday, we will have the first in our speaker series, Navigating the Digital Coming of Age, with Deborah Heltner, and that will be at Mountain View High School. And then the next one will also be, and then the last two will be at Los Altos Theater. So we are looking forward to these presentations, and you can see the lineup. And then wanted to share just a couple things. I've shared, in addition to videos, one that I shared in the past was our MVLA Minute, which we're continuing to push out on social media. And our MVLA Minute, one of the creators is here. So I'm just going to ask her to wave her hand, Kenya Contreras. So thank you, Kenya, for your work on our videos and opening up our eyes to different things happening around campus. And here are some of the other things happening. You can see the board meetings that are occurring in the future. And then also, we will have our Teacher of the Year County Celebration, recognizing Sarah Alvarado from Los Altos High School this year. And then, as mentioned, the speaker series, which will be this Wednesday. And then finally, there we go. There's a picture of someone I recognize. And I'm not quite certain what this event was. It looks like ASB is meeting to plan. Is that correct? Oh, before the rally. Okay. Because you don't quite look too tired. So just want to say that the schools are still continuing that welcoming. And that was part of the feedback we've had in years past, is we spent the first week on community building and welcoming, and there was a desire to see it continue throughout the year. So thank you to everyone who makes that possible. And that concludes my superintendent report.
Any questions for her?
Not a question, but just a comment. It's great that you highlighted the amount of recognition at Alta Vista, as that was like one of the key, like one of the ideas that came up during the Family Partnership Council of how are we doing that more frequently for students as just like a motivator. And so Jen actually was at our table and was quick to speak on that also.
Great. Good to hear. Good to see.
Well, I was at the table with Suzanne, and I just want to do a shout out to her, because hearing all the things she does for alternative high school to reach our students, and how we can scale that to have some kind of mechanism to make our students that are the comprehensive feel more cohesive. I also wanted to say that normally I get either a comment that's I don't usually just get a glowing recommendation, and I got a really glowing report on freestyle, despite the transportation challenges, because classes end at different times. This parent had nothing but good things to say about it. And normally when I get a comment as a trustee, it's a comment and then, well, can you fix something about it? I don't think there's anything you can do about the equipment issues. So I went to the she and I met actually at the freestyle art exhibit that they do every year, and I think that's what got her son to join, is the caliber of art that you see there, and is shown on that slide is just there's a whole range of art that's of that caliber that you see in all different media.
Wonderful place.
Is your student here yet?
So we'll stay on track. Okay, got it.
All right, so moving on to 13.0 communications. So 13.1, do we have anybody from the district?
We do not.
No, okay, then we'll move on from 13.1. This is for public comment. So if there's anybody in the public that would like to speak on a non-agendized item, this would be the time. Do we have anybody in the public that would like to speak? Or to turn in any?
We don't have any green cards. No.
Okay. Go on. All right, so moving on to consolidate. So, do I have a motion, or does anybody want to pull anything on the consolidate?
I have a motion. I'll read it because I'm supposed to apparently. Items listed under consolidated motion, which are 15.1 to, sorry, I don't have the agenda. It's 15.1 to
13.
Oh, that's right. We moved it. So it's now 13.1 to 13.13, which is very interesting. So that's a consolidated motion to approve all of those items.
All right, moved by Dina, second by Catherine. School board member Sadie.
I approve.
Ready to stop?
Hybrid.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going on here. All those in favor, I will announce. Almost. Right?
Perfect.
Motion
right.
passed 4-0. Thank you.
Oh, for each consolidated.
Yeah. I don't see a way to, maybe there is a way out.
Okay.
We could sing.
If I sing, it'll do it. I think if I sing.
Yeah.
But you could go to the agenda, you could click on the agenda, maybe.
I got it. Oh, thank you. Oh, there you go. Okay, moving on to 17.0 business action item. So we are gonna, as we said in the agenda, we're gonna switch the order. So we're gonna start with the science department presentations. So Dr. Meyer, I'll let you. Want to set it up together?
Yes, well, thank you. Tonight, as part of our practice of reviewing departments and listening to their progress, we are going to hear from our science department leads at both of our comprehensive high schools. And so I would like to invite Jake and Gina up to the podium, and we look forward to hearing about the great work that they're doing. So welcome.
All right, good evening. I'm Gina Dunsmore. I'm the science department coordinator at Mountain View High School. I'm also the physics teacher. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight and inviting us. We're very excited to share all the wonderful things going on at both of our departments. So I'm going to talk about Mountain View first. We have 15 amazing science teachers across our biochem, physics, and environmental science classes. We also have 15 science classes, so we've increased our number of classes over the last couple of years. We have our science pathways. So most of our 9th graders will go into a biology class. Our 10th graders will go into a chemistry class, and then it opens up a little bit more in the 11th and 12th grade for some of the other options. Of course, we want to note that these are the recommended pathways, as open access does allow students to self-select their path. 9th grade students are placed in bio, bio-H, or co-taught bio. That's been a change in the last couple of years for Mountain View. Exceptions are made, but we try to meet with all the stakeholders, the parents, the counselors, department coordinators, bio teacher, sped teacher, ELT teacher, to make sure that students' needs are being met and they're placed in the appropriate classes. I'll let you take a look at our link for instructional materials with 15 science classes. There's a lot of textbooks. So I'll have you take a look at that link on your own, but those are all of our courses and all the materials and textbooks that we use. So some of the strengths for our department, we have our department decision-making is based on our WASC goals, and we have a focus on both student and staff wellness. We have very passionate and hardworking teachers who are involved in all aspects of our school. We have coaches, we have club advisors, we have ASB advisors. We've made a strong commitment to student diversity and inclusivity in our science courses. We can see this in our 9th grade bio, our co-taught bio courses, our anatomy, and our pre-science courses. We are working on NGS alignment with rigorous, relevant, and inquiry-based curriculums that focus on cross-cutting concept, disciplinary core ideas, and science and engineering practices. We have strong alignment and collaboration throughout the department. Our course teams are 100% aligned in curriculum, grading practices, and major assessments. We are working on vertical alignment of skills as well as we go up from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. We also feel that we have excellent preparation for our students in a wide range of post-secondary paths. So those are some of the strengths that we are very excited to present. These are our goals for Mountain View High School. In our science department, we're focusing right now on aligning with NGSS, both in content, materials, as well as enrollment recommendations. We're still designing and adopting materials related to NGSS, so we're focusing on improving literacy skills to help students access that curriculum. And then we're again making a commitment to both staff and student wellness within the department and the decision making that goes on within the department. So I presented data science. Here you go. So this is just the data that's related to our WASC goals. I'll try to put it into a little bit more friendly diagrams for you, but this first one is related to enrollment starting in 21 and 22 and going to 23, 24. So after the pandemic, but we have seen an increase in AP and honors enrollment of 10.2% over the last 3 school years. And we've also seen Latinx student enrollment in AP courses increase by about 6%. We're also looking at the number of science courses that students take before they graduate. NGSS wants them to take biochem, physics, and earth science. So we're looking at the number of students who take 3 or more science classes, or the number of students that take 4 or more science courses. Again, just looking post-pandemic, we've seen an increase of about 1.5% in 3 or more classes, and about 1% in the 4 or more classes. Just to give you context, it's 2 years of science required for graduation. So we're actually see 13%, 12% of students taking more than 4 science classes. Some of the challenges we're facing at Mountain View: we have 71 sections, 15 teachers, 2 student teachers, and only 12 classrooms. So our equipment is needing to be shared, it's needing to be moved. So our prep time and space is becoming more limited. Full NGS alignment and implementation has been a challenge because publishers are really just behind in producing those good NGSS materials. Lab help. With increased labs and projects and that lack of space, having a lab tech for each site is really becoming a priority. Right now, we're sharing a lab tech between Mountain View and Los Altos, and we think having a lab tech for each site would be helpful. And then getting students, underrepresented students and APES has shown an increase, but we're still looking for better representation in other APs and honor courses. We're doing that by focusing on equity practices, improving literacy skills, and kind of working with some outside resources as well. One of the things that we've worked on is Step Up for Physics, which is an organization that creates lesson plans and really does kind of get at getting more students in those classes. So some of the things that we were excited about, and I won't go through all of them because I just wanted to provide you a wealth of pictures and things to look at. But some of the highlights, science teachers are participating in professional development learning opportunities, CI collaborations, we're attending conferences. The foundation has been extremely generous and has supplied us with tons of equipment, especially in the biotech. We have microscopes and sensors and probes and minus 80-degree freezer now. So very exciting, incubators, shakers, water baths, telescopes, rocket supplies, even some field trips. We're very grateful for our collaboration with Los Altos High School as well as community partners, and we're trying to increase our collaboration. We have STEAM Week coming back to Mountain View after a rest from the pandemic. So this will be our first week of welcoming STEAM Week back for 2023. And we have 14 science clubs on campus, all related to different STEM activities. So we just kind of put a collage together for each of the kind of major subject areas. So you can see some of the things that we're doing in our pre-science courses. We have new telescopes, and we're building solar cars and solar houses and solar Ferris wheels. In physics, we have our radio telescope. I believe we're one of the only high schools with a radio telescope in the country. We have a stratospheric lab balloon, a Howard-powered rocket program, and a bolide camera that's recording meteors all the time. In our biology courses, again, we have hugely updated biotech equipment. We're doing some electrophoresis. We're doing the snail lab. I just thought it was kind of put to some student work on there for you to take a look at. In chemistry, we are doing flame tests, we're studying Graham's law, and we're doing some elephant toothpaste and infrared. What mess up on that one picture, but I have an idea. In environmental science, we're building eco columns, and we're talking about what it looks like to live in the dark. And the cemetery lab at Halloween is always a famous and popular one. And some nature journals as well. In anatomy and physiology, we have new blood pressure sensors, oxygen sensors, some new digital microscopes that we're working with. We are also able to take a field trip to the Tech Museum with help from the foundation, so we're very grateful. Just wanted to point out some of the activities that we'll be focusing on for STEAM Week. We're going to have a guest speaker day. We'll have a STEAM fair where community partners are going to be invited to host hands-on activities. We're going to have a STEAM club arena where our STEAM clubs will gather and kind of promote their activities, and then open art studios for the art program as well. And then some of Mountain View collaborations, some of the corporations and companies that we're currently working with. So that's my part of that, and then I will pass it over to Jake.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm 5 weeks into my coordinatorship, so bear with me. So I'm Jake Russo. I teach, this year I'm teaching agricultural ecology and biotechnology. And I'll talk to that in a moment, but here's just some stuff that we've got going on. It's been a real exciting beginning to the year. Laser? Yeah. So, that's all right. So up in the middle here, this has been really exciting, actually. Ellie and Anaga from last year, they were ASI students from last year. They are going off to college, but they came back at the beginning of the school year because they developed a serious expertise working with C. elegans and through their research projects. And so what they're doing is educating this year's ASI students, which just turned into a really nice collaboration. And I'm seeing kids in the back area where they have to go to the flow hoods to work with the worms. They're just like so ready to go, and they know exactly what to do. Ellie and Anaga just did a really awesome job of training them and explaining the science behind their project and what the possibilities are. So we have this cadre of students now who are now starting, at a much later step earlier on, which is really great. So that was great to see. I put in some pictures of some of our agricultural ecology students. We had a bumper crop of garlic, and there's Luis enjoying his broccoli. Most of the veggies don't make it out of the garden. In AP biology and a lot of other courses, to start the year, kids were actually just jumping in, and teachers had them engineering their own projects, which was really nice to see. We did the same kind of thing in biotechnology. And so it's, we're doing some model building and doing some planning and a lot of good collaboration in all these photos. So this is kind of our, actually, I stole this from the last time Darren presented to you all, but it still speaks to our philosophy. We think the content is important, and we certainly want students to be exposed to that. But what we want them to do is be able to go from biology to chemistry to physics and all the other choices that they have available, developing skills along the way that are going to stick with them and help them in higher education or help them in the workforce. And so that's our primary focus. And then we're also, I think, doing a really good job of exposing them to the content. All right, so we have everything that Gina spoke to. We've got environmental science and AP environmental science. We have 3 levels of biology and human biology, and then we've got chemistry honors, and AP chemistry, AP1, APC, and college prep physics. And then what I really enjoy about our department is all the other options that students have. Forensics, biotechnology has been great for me. I taught it 20 years ago in its infancy, and I've gotten to jump back into it this year, and it's been really cool. And then ASI has just turned into this really incredible experience for the kids. And this year we had added a second section, so we realized that we had a lot of students in the physical sciences and a lot of students in the life sciences, and there's computer science. And so what we've done is added Tori Johnson as a second ASI teacher, and she has a PhD in cell biology, and she's very steeped in research, and so she's a really good fit for all those life science kids. So we've got a whole class that she's taken, and then Darren's taken the physical sciences and the computer science kids to do their projects. And so it's just been growing, and it's just been a great experience. And it's so fun to engage these kids in the in their, when they're doing their projects, and there's actually some cool stuff going on with ASI that Tori's spearheading that is trying to get more underrepresented students into ASI. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then agricultural ecology is a relatively new offering. We're in our 3rd year. We have 2 sections now, and I could talk about that all night long, but it's been really fun, and a great learning experience for everybody involved. And then again, here's your link if you want to see what structural materials, the textbooks, and other resources the students the teachers are embracing in their curriculums. And then, so what's so great about this? We now have this group of classes that really do a nice job of providing options for students that maybe aren't succeeding so well in the traditional biology, chemistry, physics, feeling intimidated or whatever. And so they're coming in like things like agricultural ecology and biotechnology. They're coming in and they're just learning the same skills from day one that all the other students are learning, regardless of whether they're, very high achieving students or low achieving students or somewhere in between. So in the garden or in the lab space, if you're in ag or biotech, everybody's just kind of starting in the same place, and it's really nice. And you get it's an easy opportunity for team building and for students to make connections early on. So that's nice. And then same with the human biology. Biotech actually does a double dipping sort of thing here. We've got a lot of honors and advanced placement courses for the students that want to do that. And then instead of just having a group of kids that are taking the introductory or the college prep courses, and then a group of students that go off into AP and honors classes, with these offerings and things like biotech and ASI, we're not starting to get a nice mix. We're kind of flattening the edges and having students start to kind of mix in the middle of those two course offerings. And it turns out it's kind of surprising, but each year it's happening in agricultural ecology too. We're getting it's a really, I initially kind of felt like Gabe Cotter. I don't know if anybody gets that reference, but you know, now it's just like there's kids of every intellectual ability, and they're working side by side, and we're doing some complicated stuff, and we're doing some basic stuff, and everybody's enjoying what they're doing and who they're doing it with, and so that's really nice. Or even 5 weeks in, the relationships I'm seeing students form is really nice, and the same thing's happening in biotech. So I feel really fortunate to be able to teach those two classes, and you know, it's just the reason we have these other classes is because we have these really passionate and dedicated teachers who are highly curious and just they want to teach what they're passionate about, and so these all these courses are born out of that. So here's our little list. I think we're probably on par with Gina for the, looks like, do I have a beat? I didn't actually count up my teachers, so there's 8 there. So there's 16. Yeah, I got 16, sorry. But a really good team. So by and large, we work really well together, and we're all kind of in agreement. And philosophically, we all want the same thing for our students, and so I'm enjoying being department coordinator and supporting them. So we've had some significant changes. We lost a long-time chemistry teacher, Craig Saran. With about 2 weeks left in school, Megan Strazic got a job offer that she just couldn't say no to, and she had built up the biotechnology program, and it was kind of a staggering loss. And then we just did some shifting around, and I'm back teaching biotech for the first time in 20 years, and I'm paired up with James Stiltner, and we're really working nicely together, and we're not going to rock the boat. We want to do what Megan's been doing, and we'll feed into our own, we'll feed some of our own interests in there, but she just developed this wonderful program. So we're sticking with that, and we've enjoyed our start, and the kids have already been developing some great skills and acquiring some really good knowledge. And then James is also teaching some of the chemistry, and we have Lizzie Pyle, and we just hired another teacher, Arjuna Venugopal, and it seems to be working out well, and the students seem to be responding well. So just I'll echo what Gina was saying about Julie McVeigh, and it's just it's pretty harried. It's confusing for us. It's pretty tough on her, and she gets pulled this way or that depending on what labs and now that are going on, and now that Mountain View is really getting a more robust biotechnology infusion into their curriculum, that's making it even more challenging. So I'll just echo that. We're working on vertical alignment. This is just kind of an ongoing thing, and this is something I think is helping all of our students. We agree to develop a certain set of skills in biology or other freshman classes, and then once they move on to their sophomore classes, they're familiar with certain things, and we can add some and build on those. And so just things with spreadsheets and using equipment and following protocols and things like this. Once they develop some comfort as freshmen, the chemistry teachers don't have to spend as much time, and then hopefully that just keeps what's uphill snowball going. Verticals. This is obviously going to continue to be a challenge, but we've got some really cool things going. We've got something called AP Head Start, And what the AP teachers are doing is they're coming in for a few days before school starts with avid students that are enrolled in their courses. And it's really open to any students. But avid has been the group that we've been working with to as a start as this program builds up. So they come in for a couple days and they might work through a lab. They might they'll become more familiar with the textbook. We may expose them to what some of the tests that are coming down the pipe are like in terms of rigor. And then it's also just to get them familiarity with the teacher, with the classroom. So they're not coming in first day without any familiarity and immediately feeling overwhelmed. And we're getting some good feedback on that. But we still want to expand that. There's more avid students that could be participating, and so we need to figure out what's going on. How can we make this more available to you? We have peer tutors now, so we're dropping peer tutors in a lot of different classes. So that's helping, and then they can make appointments with peer tutors to work before school, lunch, or after school. I don't think they want to give up their lunch. And then something that Tori's doing here, which is really cool, is that she's trying to work to get more students, underrepresented students in ASI, which is exciting because it's really like all you need for ASI is to be curious. You can learn how to do research. You can learn how to develop protocols. You can learn how to present your findings. All those kids, they participate in the synopsis challenge. And so it's just so what she's doing is she's started these Monday meetings. So every Monday when ASI meets, the teams have to present to each other, and they have to talk about what kind of problems they're having. And she's invited ASI kids avid students into to participate in these meetings, just to see that the students that are in ASI right now, so that the avid kids can actually see the struggle. And not think that it's just easy. It's not easy. It's a very challenging path to take. And so if they come in and see what's going on in these meetings, then hopefully they'll feel less intimidated about it. Because if they got an idea, they're welcome. It's just so much learning to be had there. It's great. GSS and textbooks. So I'll echo Gina again there. And then we also have a lot of sections of biology. I think we have like 24 sections of biology, and they're going through and doing a lot of labs at the same time. All of our biology, any course team is completely aligned in terms of assessment, planning, curriculum, when they're doing labs. Most of the labs are the same in all the different sections of a given course team. So it's challenging. But we're making do, and then we have a few years ago we got something called the 3R fund established, and the 3R fund is for recalibrating, replacing, or repairing equipment that may have gone down the previous year. So that's been really great because Julie's been very quick to get these things dealt with and get them back in the students' hands. And then we also have this issue of students really loading themselves to way too much with AP courses and thinking that they need every single AP course. And we're trying to send the message. And the reason I put this in here is because I think Fabian Morales has been doing a really good job of helping students and families understand that it's not going to affect your future if you don't take every single AP course that is offered at Los Altos High School, and just following your interest is much more important. It's going to make learning more fun and just less overwhelming. All right, so we've got a lot of teachers going through, really continuing to educate themselves, and that's infusing their practice. So that's been great. I'll give you an example. I'm going to be a little selfish here. I took Cornell Lab of Ornithology gave an eBird and Merlin workshop up at UCSC Arboretum over the summer. It was a 3-day workshop. And so what I want to do in ag is I want to have us just plan to take over, I don't know, like 100 feet of fence and plant a bunch of birdhouse gourds. And so we'll harvest the gourds in the spring, and then we'll spend some time learning about birding, and then have the kids participate in this citizen science project that eBird's going on. That's I mean, your data is going into a database, and the patterns that they're seeing in migration changes and things like that. Like it's just real time contribution to a question. Yeah, it's gonna be, and I just want to make a birdhouse, but like I love birding. And going, just walking around, checking out what's going on in the classrooms at the beginning of the year has been great. Like I said, there's a lot of teachers that are allowing students the freedom to engineer their own protocols and develop their own experiments, which actually I'm hoping works to as a little vertical alignment tool to start getting more kids thinking about ASI. And that's happening in all classes. We're so grateful. I can't even it's like a laundry list of things that we've been fortunate enough to get awarded from the foundation. And the nice thing is that everything we've done is just like developing. They all have like a legacy now. I was just in biotech. We were just breaking out the electron microscope that I think was bought by the foundation about 12 years ago. You were there? Yeah, something like it was before I started, and I've been here a decade now. So still being able to use that and show students what something looks like, 5,000 to 10,000 times bigger than it actually is no small feat. So that's great. And it's just it's project after project, and I'm grateful for ag because now we're gonna do this big vermiculture project, and we're teaching these valuable sustainability lessons. It's been, and biotech has benefited, ASI has benefited, every course has benefited. We have student lab techs now, so Tori also spearheaded this. This is something that Megan started the last couple of years, and Tori took it over now, and so we now have several students that are helping us and helping Julie and developing some really cool skills and learning some chemistry in the back area, which is great. And then biotech has just been infused to all levels of biology. We're even doing it in ag now, where we're doing a lab where we can do GMO detection. So we can pull stuff out of the garden, we can pull stuff off the shelves at the market, and see if there's markers for genetic modification. ASI students are doing great things. They've been written up in journals. I've got a slide in a sec here. They're killing it at the synopsis challenge, the field trip to the UK, and interacting internationally with students, presenting, like watching our students present to really, it's like Hogwarts. It's crazy what we go into, and they, they're just doing such a wonderful job of representing the school. I'm hoping that continues, but it is kind of a headache. But it's a great opportunity. The garden that we have now is we've got about 50 raised beds. Portables will leave soon, and we'll expand into that area, and we'll get some animals, some greenhouses going, and that would be great. And then it's turned out that ag. What did I do?
That's a
Okay. So ag and culinary now we're working together, and Mr. Molas and his students are making things from the garden that is really encouraging students to try. Turns out when you fry food, it doesn't matter what it is. So they had their first fried green tomatoes, and you temper it, some of our whole beans, and anyway, there's a lot of good stuff going on, and we're providing for him to cook for the staff, and that's help the students see the significance of the course. And then just some ASI data here. You can see that we're doing pretty good in terms of participants and students moving to state, and the number of awards that we're getting at the synopsis challenge. And again, we bumped up to the 2 sections, and it's been really helpful and streamlined things to separate out the life sciences from the physical science and computer sciences. And then the co-teaching that we've got going now is really, really beneficial. We're just the curriculum developments, like what Ben and I are doing, what Michael and Christy are doing, and what Stefan and Celia are doing is just really, really helping to meet the needs of our students in these courses. So thank you for supporting that. And this is what I usually look like on campus. And here I am with Hero. She's just telling me about her project, and then it's nice to have the crew together again, and that's about it. Do I take questions now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Sanjay, may I ask you a couple?
Yes.
I have 2 questions. One is in terms of student lab techs and regular lab techs and then the student general. What about the safety training and the safety equipment that you have? Like you can blow up a chemistry lab, or you could get yourself sick from a biological thing, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so Julie's actually unbelievably knowledgeable about lab safety, and it's a big concern of hers, and so any kid that's working in the back area, they're going to be fully protected, I'm getting tired now.
And the janitors are aware of how to.
Yeah, so the custodians are all trained. Yeah,
There's the dangers there.
we got all starting with the Keenan stuff, and then Bernard and the custodians, and then are trained in that kind of stuff, I believe, and then Julie again is really knowledgeable, so she can kind of, if there is a spill, she knows what to do, and we have all the kits and everything, and we've got all the we've got eye washes and showers and blankets and things like that, so we're prepared for the.
And the students are taking it real seriously.
Very seriously, yeah. I mean, they see it as a really valuable learning experience. They don't want it to go away. So
My last question has to do with credentials, and that is, you have the standard classes, and I know everybody has a credential and that's a specific thing. But when you have some of these more unique classes, how does the credentialing work? And you have to have a credential in both 5 things that you're teaching in there, if there's not a credential for that in particular, or what?
I think I honestly I can't tell you. I can't quote head coach you about how this all works. But there in all these courses, there's significant components that are aligned with the credential that the teacher has, and then each of us that are teaching these unique courses are I wasn't a good gardener. I could grow a tomato, but my knowledge of plant physiology and anatomy and development and soil science, and it's I've been learning on the job, but now I'm getting pretty good. And Lisa, you can ask Lisa anything about forensics, and it's just those were things that we were. I mean, I knew about a lot about biotech, and that's obviously more of a life science anyway. So that credentialing issue isn't really a significant one, but yeah, it's more that the big chunk of the class is
Under a certain credential.
yeah.
And then
If I could jump in, a bio or a chemistry or a physics credential is a pretty broad umbrella in high school that allows you to teach a lot of different subject specifics that would fall under a life science or a physical science.
Well, that's how I was wondering how that works, yeah.
Else?
Okay, sure. So I really appreciate hearing about the specifics in terms of how we're efforts around increasing the number of underrepresented students, and I think at both sides. specifically hearing about the peer tutors, Head Start, and collaborations with Avid. I think those are all key things to increase underrepresentation. And I think it was like a 6% increase around Latinx students. I think Mountain View, I think that's what I heard. I'm curious if you can speak to sort of our longer term outcomes. How are Latinx students doing in terms of grades, in terms of AP credit? Is that data that we would be looking at some point?
Could I jump in?
Yes, please.
That is definitely part of our annual review where we get to that granular level of how our different demographics succeeding in the different classes at a district level. And then there's also site specific packets that you'll get that gives you that information. And then you'll see within that students who are, as an example, Latinx in regular program are very comparable to our Caucasian and our Asian students. Students who are Latinx that are EL learners, as an example, in the EL program tend to struggle a little bit more in our college prep or honors classes compared to their counterparts.
And that meeting is October, is that correct? Or no?
The district annual review is in November. And then the sites are in December.
So it's always good to follow up after Esme, because I can just follow on and say, great job. And I agree with what she said. But I did want to dig down a little bit on one of the things that was stated, which was I think it was Mountain View or Los Altos has increased enrollment in AP and environmental science. And I think kind of the elephant in the room for a lot of our underrepresented students is either not having the math background or a lack of confidence in math. Because I think for a lot of students, when they think of physics, you think of calculus. And I mean, obviously you can do a lot of physics. My son did physics in elementary school, and he certainly wasn't doing calculus. Obviously for a college class, you need to have, calculus. But it sounds like at Los Altos, you're sort of delving into more mixed classes using biotech and other sort of CTE type classes to sort of overcome that. It's going to be like a bunch of equations on a board. I actually, I took chemistry, and initially I thought, oh my God, it's going to be a bunch of equations on a board. And it was equations on a board, but the teacher made it really interesting and explained to us, like, we did a lot of experiments in the class. So my question is, what are you doing, both of you, to sort of kind of lower that anxiety? Because I think it's both a perception and a reality. When you look at our math scores, that students are bumping up against that and going, I don't know if I can take this class.
I can speak to a little bit about the physics. So we have 3 levels of physics. Our college prep is algebra based, AP1 is algebra and trigonometry based, and APC is calculus based. So there's only APC that relies on a calculus. We of course would like all students to take physics every day, but we are trying to kind of advertise and promote the class, and some of the activities that we're doing are trying to bring students in, like our stratospheric lab balloon, our radio telescope, our walk on water project, and getting students and saying, here are the things that we're going to do. We're also focusing on engineering practices. We're focusing on really good labs. It's not just math all day, every day. So hopefully they're seeing some of those other activities that we're doing, and they're wanting to join in as well.
Great. I mean, I do support people learning, our students learning math, but I just know there is this, particularly for women, I think, or girls, there can be that anxiety. And then my other question, and thank you, Mountain View High School, for providing a lot of data about your students. If you could go to that slide, the pie chart, you had this pie chart and it said, it wasn't that many students, but it said no science. and I wasn't sure what that meant. And I asked about it, and I think there was a misunderstanding of what I was asking about. See, oh, it's that one. It's not that many, but it says no science. So does that literally mean they're not enrolled in science, or?
There are only 2 science classes required for graduation, so there are sometimes that students won't, if you only take 3 classes before you graduate, there will be a year that you don't have science. So in 2022, 18% of the kids did not have science. that particular year.
Okay. So it's per year. I see. Okay. Now because I was like, okay, now I understand. It's per year. Thank you. Because I was really not getting that pie chart.
Sorry.
Thank you for explaining that.
Just to go back to your math question real quick, one of our vertical alignment goals is to make sure that we are applying mathematics and statistics as much as possible in as many of the classes, and the level at which we should have might change, but just helping students understand that there's you can't really separate science and math. The two don't function without each other. And as they move up, we would hope that they would be able to develop more comfort and become, and the math applications would become a little bit more challenging as they move up through the grade levels.
And then I guess my final question is, are the, because the A through G requirements are needed, right? You need 2 science classes. Are the alternative classes, are they A through G classes?
So,
because that's important for our students. We want them to have options.
right. So so there's the 2. So there's graduation requirements, and then there's UC and
Right, exactly.
CSU requirements. So right now, agricultural ecology is meeting an elective requirement for the UCs and the CSUs, and it's meeting a graduation requirement for high school, and that's the same for forensics. Biotechnology is meeting everything across the board, ASI, the human biology, environmental science, those are all considered lab sciences. So we do have courses that are, that are helping the students that are developing electively to still get those UC approved courses.
That's awesome, because I know that not all of, sometimes that the UCs lag behind what, so that's really great to hear.
And then, we do a significant amount of lab work in ag. He does a significant amount of lab work in forensics, so that could be, that can change as the course is evolved.
That makes me so happy, because lab work is, I think, crucial to understanding science, and also personally is what got me excited about science. So great job. Yeah.
One big part of it.
I have just one more. You showed a lot of just really exciting student work. I'm just wondering, what are, for board members, what's kind of the best way to get a snapshot to see a little bit of the learning happening? Is there some key moments throughout the year that you'd recommend checking out to see? We're not going to be in the day-to-day. I know that that's where you see a lot of the learning, but I'm just curious if there's specific windows where we can see some of that learning showcased.
I can always include you. I don't have any dates off the top of my head, but it's happening every day. Any day you check in, we're gonna have fun, exciting things for you. But if there's something in particular you want to see, you can send me an email.
Oh, and that reminds me, could you resend that presentation? Because we didn't get the video links, or I mean, they're all pictures, they all show up as pictures, and there wasn't the little, so you'd have to click on each one to know which one was a video.
I can send you the Google slide deck, so they're
Yeah,
live within the
cool.
deck.
Great, that would be great. Thank you.
Savvy enough.
I have a few questions. One, maybe just staying with the underrepresented. So I guess, it sounds like, there's a lot of great initiatives going on. If you had mentioned maybe Head Start and peer tutors. What do you consider the barrier to having more underrepresented students in honors and courses? I know math was mentioned as well.
Yeah, so that's part of it, but I mean, I think it just goes deeper and there's a, there's a confidence component. You may have totally capable kids that really have wonderful questions and could be really successful in these programs, but they for some reason just have, they just have a perception that they're just not as good as everybody else in the class. And part of that is that they're just different from everybody else in the class sometimes. Like the demographic, they don't see their own demographic in significant numbers in these higher achieving classes. So that's something we're really just hoping to change, and we're hoping that good supports will change, and working closely with Abbott and other grades, just not only Abbott, it's SPED, and because just because you have a special education designation does not preclude you from more challenging environments.
So like a ninth grade doing, it's when the students taking a bio or whatever courses, do the teacher, do the part of it to encourage the students to say, I think you should take honors bio, honors chem.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have,
but even though they just still, because of the confidence is one that they don't end up doing it.
yeah, well, sometimes, but we do have meaningful conversations when it comes time for course selection.
Mhm.
And we try to counsel them as best we can. I walk into chem classes and I'm a little surprised that the kids that take chemistry honors but they're enjoying themselves and they're still learning. And
sure.
So yeah, there is a big push. And again, that's like I'll congratulate Bobby on that for building up this program where we actually get really involved. The teachers are getting involved in helping students select their courses and trying to get them, we look at their math background and we know what kind of math they need for this course or that course, so we try to guide them. So, and as they're successful. I have kids that took biology as freshmen and came into AP biology and just did phenomenally well. So it's just we take a close look at each kid and talk to them about what courses they've taken and what their interests are, and counsel them for it.
I will second that we do have a pretty robust advisory week where we meet individually with every single student in every single science class and talk about what their next steps are. We're also focusing, I believe, on trying to improve literacy skills across our site. And I think that will also help students access the curriculum and get more students into those AP and honors courses.
And it's going to put a plug in for constructing meaning.
I was like,
Yeah.
perfect.
Thank you. So there's the district initiative, constructing meaning, where we're just, I'm in my fourth, coming up in my fourth class for the cohort I'm in, and it's really all about the central tenet seems to be don't water it down, provide these other supports, and here's the supports, and it's real good tangible stuff that I've already started using in class, and so I think that's going to be if that works out and we get a lot of staff buying, which I hope we will, because it's not unreasonable. Then I think that's going to make some difference, a significant difference in the future also.
Yep.
You had mentioned freshman course co-taught bio. So what is that, and who would take that course?
So you have Mountain View's got co-taught biology. We have co-taught environmental science, and then we have I teach AI classes co-taught. And so if there's a co-teaching designation, then it's it's supposed to be a really meaningful support for special education students, because the co-teachers are all SPED teachers. And so we're getting, it's really nice to work with a SPED teacher and just totally get a different perspective on what's going to work for this student or that student.
And to clarify, we have a large percentage of our special education students that are in a program called Resource. So they're already in general education classes. These are not the students that would be in a co-taught class. These are specifically students that would be in a sheltered specialized instruction program, special ed science as an example, non-A to G class that are finding success in a general education science class or English or math. We have several different co-taughts because of this dual program. So it's a specific student in special education.
And couple of Mountain View. So I mean, we've been hearing about ASI, and I've gotten a few years ago. I've gotten to see some. Maybe next friends. I'll have to do it actually. Is there any consideration from Mountain View High School to start offering ASI?
We haven't been talking about that. Our philosophy has kind of been to focus on the core biochem, physics, environmental science that NGSS is focused on. We've included anatomy in the last couple of years. We're working on redesigning our pre-science classes to meet the A through G requirements. And so we've been focusing there, and we haven't had a chance to really talk about adding ASI at this point.
And I will say we're really lucky. Darren came from industry, and he's got a very deep research background. I was a paramedic before I was a teacher, so I don't, it's like I'm not the candidate to teach a research class. And then when we hired Tori 5 years ago, that just made that a possibility. So I think unless you have, and I'm sure I don't know the background of all the teachers, but that was something that's a seamless thing to start was we had researchers and it just kind of out of us.
Do you know if the students that took the ASI though, did it help them get into their reach school and college? Have you seen any correlation? You may not have data.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can think of several students that were actually awarded based on the work they did in ASI. Yeah, so word kind of gets out from the synopsis challenge, and then when they make it to the state science fair, then it's almost like colleges send out recruiters. I think so it's a few, but I think
So, just to follow up with that, do you think, it's the nature of the class that you have, you mentioned you have these mixing of students in ASI. Do you think it's the nature of the class, or that it's this class that kids haven't heard of, so they don't have a preconceived notion of what ASI is, right?
Well, we definitely promote it, and we have a poster walk at the end of the year, and teachers actually, like chemistry and biology and physics, encourage their students to go to that poster walk and actually interview a couple of the ASI students about their projects. So I think awareness keeps getting better and better every year.
But I mean, in some ways, you're asking students to design their own experiments. So in some ways, it's that way. So it, in some ways, is actually more. It requires more confidence to do that than it would be just okay. In chemistry, I mean, there are facts you were taught, right, as well as you do labs. But there's a certain, I can kind of rest my laurels on, I can pass this test or do this quiz. Whereas ASI, I have to come up with my own project. So that requires me as a student to have the confidence to go in and say, teacher, I want to study worms or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So
honestly, going, with my wife and I chaperoned the trip to the UK this last year. So we went over with 34 kids and getting to see the kids on the field trip and stuff. And the kids that I know that are in ASI, I think it's much more about the curiosity and the confidence almost.
okay.
They come in and they have to interview, they have to present their project, and so they have to interact with an adult in that respect. But if Tori or Darren recognizes like the curiosity more so than the confidence, they tend to glom onto those kids because it's those kids that really follow through on their projects. And sometimes, they like do the best work. But
Well,
they develop
that-
confidence. It's like part of
Yeah.
the course is to develop that confidence.
But that is awesome because science is curiosity, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that is what the essence of science is curiosity about or about what's happening around us.
Yeah.
So that's really,
Yeah,
I think that's really cool. So I hope you're listening, Mountain View High School, because it sounds like there's some secret sauce going on maybe there. But yeah.
Pathway that is slightly different, but it is an innovation of it. I don't want our families to think that we're not.
Okay.
We have.
What is it called?
Healthcare Academy of that is also the medical field. So we're not twins, we're sisters. We have
Your sisters, right?
Yes, we have, because I just, yes, it is amazing that it's going on and it goes on, it's going to go. And our Spartans also have opportunity to pursue other passions through our wonderful science.
Oh, of course. I don't want to set up any school rivalries apart from the sports games.
Yeah,
But I do, it does sound like, it does sound intriguing to me. And I think, you were clearly energized by it. So, and I know that you had some, each school is different. So I think, I guess we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, I really feel like it was kind of a right place at the right time. And it's for all the things that have to come together to build a class like that. It's
Sounds challenging for
it
the
was rare.
teacher.
It's just like, I mean, I've taught at different districts and I know friends all over the place that they just don't, they have students that are, when they have teachers that support them if they want to do individual projects, but this is not a course that Los Gatos was lost there.
Okay,
So
so we gotta keep you then, is what you're saying. Okay. No, I think, but I think I really appreciated your stats, which really helped me understand your students, which I really appreciated because I always want to know, even though I didn't understand this particular chart because I couldn't read the little tiny print, but I think knowing that having data on the individual students, I think I really got a sense of kind of the tip of what was going on at Mountain View High School. And I really, really appreciated that because I'm really a data head. And so I didn't have to ask you a bunch of questions about, because I didn't ask, so I didn't ask you a bunch of questions about underrepresented students because you've had the data already there. So I could see it and I could go, okay, this is what you're doing. So I really appreciate your data. Yes, you had a lot of data. You had several slides of data. That was only one of, I think, 5 slides of data. And as a scientist, right, data is your bread and butter. So thank you.
Questions? Speaking of the same, you can ask questions, that, right?
Yeah.
Ms. Dunbar, Mr. Russo, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah, so we're gonna do a little switch. We're gonna do the student of the month. And we'll start with Mountain View High School. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
So MVHS's student of the month is Richard Wang. We are delighted to introduce Richard Wang, an exceptional student whose remarkable achievements and outstanding character have earned him the title of Mountain View High School Student of the Month. Richard is an exemplary student at MVHS, shown by his teachers describing him as matured, principled, and an ethical member of our community. He also shows his selfless spirit by volunteering at Spartan Start this past year to welcome new students to MVHS. His favorite class, Calculus BC, stands as testament to his perseverance and collaborative spirit, as it challenged him and he pushed through with the support of both his peers and his teacher. Outside the classroom, Richard has shown extreme dedication to health and fitness. Richard enjoys wrestling and weightlifting, which can be seen in school as well. Richard is the president of the bodybuilding club at MVHS and is also part of MVHS's wrestling team. Both of these achievements show Richard to be a prominent and beneficial member of MVHS community. Richard's interests extend far beyond academics and sports. An avid reader of novels, he finds inspiration within the pages of books. Richard especially enjoys reading about aerospace and astronomy, which underscores his dreams for the future. Having immigrated to the US in 2016, he navigated the challenges with grace and resilience. Many of Richard's favorite memories revolve around the little moments that make high school truly memorable. He especially enjoyed time spent with friends, should it be talking during brunch and lunch, or training with his teammates for wrestling. This culminated in one of his favorite memories, playing at the CCS championships with his friends cheering him on. Richard also enjoyed many of the bigger events at MVHS. He especially enjoyed homecoming and prom at Great America, which were both unique and fun. Richard Wang's exceptional journey embodies the value of dedication, community, and resilience that we hold dear at MVHS. His unwavering commitment to academic excellence, leadership, and personal growth makes him a deserving recipient of the Student of the Month recognition. As he continues to forge his path towards a future in astronomy and aerospace, we are confident that he will leave a memorable mark wherever he chooses to go.
Wonderful. So part of this process is to ask you some questions. So anybody on the board who would like to ask a question?
Congratulations, Richard. Do you want to speak a little bit to the ways in which you welcome students onto Mountain View's campus? I heard as one of your many accomplishments.
Yeah, so I volunteered the Spartan Star activity, which is basically like introducing the new freshmen. It's like pretty well organized. We had a few days of training to what we're gonna do on the day. We'll plan out activities we do with our freshman group. Also like plan out how we're gonna introduce them, how the day's gonna go. And as well as like one thing that I really liked was that we had to call the parents or the freshmen the night before, tell them about what's gonna happen. It was really interesting getting to know their families a little bit, which you don't really just have the opportunity all of the time. And yeah, during that day, it was very nice. We led a group with me and one other person led a group of freshmen, gave them a tour of the campus, told them what to expect from high schools, and encouraging them to be you got this. If you need anything, we're always here for you. Just tell them that the high school is gonna be fun and they're gonna get through it and everything.
Well, I just want to appreciate you and commend you for doing that work, because that's really what allows other and new students to feel a sense of belonging, which is so important when you just get to a new school. So thank you for doing that.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to say also congratulations, and I also appreciate your work with the Spartan Start. I wanted to ask you where, as an immigrant myself, where you immigrated from, and how that's influenced, if anything, your experience at high school.
So I was actually born in Chicago, the US.
Okay.
But right afterwards, when I was literally a few months old, my family went back to China. And that's where I grew up for the first few parts of my years until kindergarten. Grew up in Shanghai. And then after that, moved to Singapore. So from first to fourth grade, I lived in Singapore, and that kind of shaped my whole childhood. I kind of grew up there. And then moving here, it was definitely pretty different because even though Singapore is literally smaller than the Bay Area, right? The country. So yeah, it was very different. Everything was a lot more spread out. Culture was different too. Everybody was pretty welcoming. When I went to Loyola for elementary school, and yeah, from there I started making friends, and then those friends got carried on, and then I still hang out with basically the same friend group since middle school days. And yeah, everybody's been really supportive, and I definitely feel I found my place here now.
Wonderful.
So, your family here?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so, we're gonna.
We are. Congratulations, Richard. If I could ask you and your family to stand in front of the MVLA sign right there.
Yeah, right. Anyway. The family awards, congratulations.
All right, Sadie.
Right. Los Altos High School is proud to honor Kara Chow as our September Student of the Month. Kara is a student athlete at Los Altos and a four-year varsity starter for the girls golf team. While on the team, they were the first girls golf team in school history to advance to the Northern California Regional Championship. In addition, she has twice been ranked on the Squall All-League second team. Kara loves to help other students improve their golf game as well. In summer, she's a junior coach at the First Tee of Silicon Valley, where she mentors over 100 kids in golf skills and character development. She's also dedicated to improving mental health of teens in her community. As a member of Student Wellness Advisory Group, she advocates for the destigmatization of mental health and raises funds for wellness centers in schools. She was a non-trivial fellow where she was granted funds to continue her research in artificial intelligence in early detection of mental illnesses. At Los Altos, she is the vice president of Math Club, where she works with middle schoolers at the Egan Math team, and she is the co-founder of the Girls Who Code Club, where she leads the all-girls team in Teams Code competition. In addition to her work with students in middle and high school, she tutors at the San Antonio Math Include, a nonprofit providing free math support to students of all ages. Last summer, she attended the Canada-USA Math Camp, where she learned from experts in graph theory, linear algebra, group theory, cryptography, and knot theory. As part of her application, she completed a proof-based problem set and submitted 38 pages of proofs. Her favorite classes at Los Altos have been AP Statistics and AP English Language. This year, she is most excited for ASI, where she will be researching teammate modeling in card games. After graduation, she hopes to attend college and receive a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Congratulations, Kara, for receiving the September Student of the Month and for your success and dedication to contributing to your school. Thank you.
I have a few questions for you, Kara, so who would like to ask a question?
I want to ask you more about the AI with mental health. What kind of things have you found out so far, or what kind of things how have you started in terms of developing a model for this?
So it was a pretty short fellowship. So it was really just the beginning. Through the non-trivial fellowship, I tried to see if there was a way to detect, I guess, early mental illness with AI, because from what I found, a really big problem is that there are a lot of resources around campus, but a lot of students don't really reach out for that help until it's maybe too late. So I really looked at statistical analysis, because any, I guess, change in texting behavior can be a cause for concern. If you text too much, it could be like a reliance on the internet if your mental health's declining, or if you detach completely, that could also be a warning sign. So my research was basically on that statistical analysis.
Anybody else have a question?
Congratulations, Cara. I'm curious, what are some of your career interests, since you seem to be doing a lot of different things right now in high school?
I have no idea, to be honest. I know I want to do a lot of math in college and maybe look into computer science and AI a bit. But as for careers, I'm lost.
AI might be a good idea.
So, golf. So which course do you mostly play on? Shoreline or
We mostly play at Bayview.
Bayview? Okay. So what's your best score?
My best score, like at Bayview, or
Pick another, which is Shoreline or another.
well, I actually just came back from a tournament at Los Lagos for Helen Langfeld, and I shot 78 there.
I can't even break 90. So. All right, great.
So congratulations. I wanted to ask you about co-founding the Girls Who Code, because I started coding actually in college, or actually in high school. So, and I was the only girl in my class at the time. I'm dating myself because I don't think that's the case now. But what prompted you to start the club, and you know, what is teams? What are team codes competitions? Are those are those specifically for girls, or are they mixed sex?
General, but we compete as an all-girls team. And I took AP Computer Science sophomore year, and it was there were not many girls there. And I feel like a lot of girls are afraid to take that first step. So our club is mostly aimed towards people who haven't done a lot of code, just as an introduction, and to show it to be really fun. So we play a lot of games, and just at the end of the year, we do competitions to, I guess, give them that experience.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's another welcoming thing.
So you have family here?
Yes.
So, okay, great. So I think
We'll go right here. Congratulations.
Only.
all right. Okay, so now we'll go on to 17.1, which is the unaudited actual financials. Mike.
Yes, thank you, Mike and Elvis Lopez. Perfect. Well, good evening, and we're going to share the 22-23 unaudited financial actuals, as we do every year around this time. And really the introduction of this is that this is looking in the rear view mirror, right? The fiscal year ends June 30th. We spend the next 2 months closing the books, wrapping everything up. So normally when we're here for all the other budget presentations, it's really looking out. You're driving a car out the windshield, looking on the road ahead. This is the one time a year where we really look backwards. Everything's closed, but it gives a nice summary, update, and reflection where we ended the year. So we continue to help support the district and the district goals of fiscal health and stability, to support all the wonderful programs you've heard about. So as we're hearing about science departments, all the equipment, the staffing we have, the classrooms, the facilities, that's all a reflection of how the financial health of the district supports all those wonderful programs. So with that, I guess I'm advancing the slides and we're already there. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Elvis, who's going to walk you through some of the numbers. And just a reminder, this is the 30,000 or 50,000 maybe foot view of our financials. A lot more details are embedded in the actual documents attached to the board agenda item. You also, I know, already are looking at the all funds spreadsheet. So that looks at all the district funds, general fund, and the fund numbers that are outside of the general fund, which provides some detail level as well. But we're going to focus mostly on the general fund with one slide on adult education, and just to acknowledge the good work they're doing there, and really kind of look at it from a high level. So with that, I'll turn it over to Elvis to walk us through the numbers.
So if you're looking at the all fund spreadsheet, everything on the left-hand side of the all fund spreadsheet, just keep it small. This is all the funds revenue combined together. Our property taxes last year, Mike and I projected 8.5%. They actually were 9.27%. So we were not that far off last year. Total expenditures, again, it's all the accounts put together for 129 million. This is the OPEB. This is our contribution over for outside after when people retire their unemployment benefits that the district offers. Fund balance increase is 4.7 million. Again, this is all the accounts combined together. The next slide, I'll kind of break it down more because it's more detailed. This is the fund balance on top. I said 4.7. Unrestricted is 2.6. Again, 2.6 is no restrictions to the accounts. The board and everyone decides on what we could do with those funds. That was a allocation carryover, which is a lot smaller than the previous year. So this school site have done a lot better job spending the money that we give them every year, which is great. Unspent special ed, those are purchase orders that we overestimate on, because sometimes we have to overestimate on purchase orders to have the services we need, because we don't know at the time how much services or stuff the students need at that, moving forward. And some of them are also unfilled vacant positions that we have to account for, because when we do the budgets, it's always looking at if we were fully staffed, what is the cost that we have to put on. The restricted account, 2.1, it's one-time state fund that we get, the COVID funds that we have. Prop 29 is not up there yet because we have just got the numbers this year to put them in. So that's the music arts grant that just passed. And also your donation accounts. Again, the 2.1 includes when we do the budgets, we have to earmark those numbers. So we always look at expense. We have to earmark the number that's left over in those accounts to kind of account for them moving forward. This is our district reserve levels. We met the 3% as we do every time. Our cumulative operating expense, we're almost there for 6 million. This includes the 2.6 increase that we have. Increase in fund balance. Our OPEB, we met the target. Special education. This is a slide we've done for years, kind of showing what special ed as years go on, how much it increases, how it started 5 years ago. And of course, next year, 2018, 2019 will drop off, and we have 2023, 24 added on. So this is, if you look at it, how much revenues we get from special ed from a state and or anywhere else, federal funds, the expenditure to the contribution for general fund. This is also has a mixture of some service that we provide in conjunction with other school districts that we share costs with when people we hire, like audiologists and other stuff like that. So this also includes that. Next slide, adult education revenues, 5.1, expenses, little less. They had a fund increase of 35,000. So it shows that they are taking care of their expenses. Me and Julie actually meet quite often on her funds, probably a lot more than I meet with other school sites, which I'm trying to change this year, and meet with more school sites and have one-on-one conversations to see anything that looks weird, anything that we haven't seen, or there's more money to spend. But obviously there's a fund balance of 4.4 million on adult education.
So as we mentioned, we weren't going to spend a lot of time on the nitty-gritty details, again, high-level overview, but positive message coming out of last fiscal year carries us forward in the current fiscal year. Obviously, where do we go from here? Well, now that we've wrapped up last year, we take these updated numbers and we'll include that first in our budget report when we're back up here in December, because the ending balance we just shared with you become the new beginning balances for the current fiscal year, and that's something that happens in the transition of every fiscal year. Elvis mentioned how we came in property tax wise, secured property tax reality versus our projections. So we will continue to monitor those for the current year. We just had the first quarterly property tax meeting last Friday and all the information they provided. So we budgeted 7% for current year. The current estimate is slightly under that at 6.55. But that's actually pretty close to what we're projecting, and often that number grows throughout the year because sometimes the county's holding back money in case there's appeals or things like that. So we'll continue to monitor those tax revenue projections and incorporate that into our budgets going forward. We have started the year, we're several weeks in, and so that next bullet point is reconciling the actual staffing levels versus projections. So we provide the sites with staffing allocation, we hire, and then sometimes there's a need for an additional hire or consolidation of courses or programs, and we collapse, or vacant positions that we knew were vacant, at the end of last year, which have chosen not to fill. So really tightening up those numbers. And then this is also the time of year as we get ready for open enrollment, which is regard to our medical benefits, where we get the renewal rates for our medical benefits. Those start, it's a plan year that goes January to December. So it goes with the calendar year, but we get those renewal rates from our carriers, and we can replace the actual renewal rates with our 10% projection and tighten up those numbers. So those are kind of some of the big things we have going forward in terms of the budget and fiscal goal in the district. So with that, we will conclude our presentation. Of course, if there's any questions or comments, we can take those, but that's the last slide we have.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Elvis.
Thank you.
So, any questions?
Yeah, I just had one question, which is the staffing levels. And this is probably more for you, Terry, actually, is the staffing levels that we're not, what is the cause of that discrepancy at the moment? Because there was I don't know which.
So I'll offer some thoughts. And that, so we have, right, we create positions with a budget number, right, attached when we develop the budget in May, right? And we have to put in a budget number, right? Where do we think they're going to be on the salary schedule? Because we don't know how many years of experience those new hires will have, and therefore where they're placed on the salary schedule. So when we adopt the budget in June, there's a plug number, right? We use an average number to provide, financial costs associated with that. Now that we've hired them all and HR has processed them, we know they're on step 3, so they're the third year of teaching, or they're on step 13. So we can put in actual costs versus the projections. So that's a big part of what that reconciliation is of actual staffing versus projections. We also have examples where we hired staff, some of them go on an unexpected leave of absence for a variety of reasons. So we're backfilling those positions, but still carrying the cost because they have sick days or paid leave accrued. So you look at the personnel report every board meeting, we have unanticipated resignations or employment changes that happen. So those are all examples of the things we're reconciling here at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
Any other? No. We have a couple questions. One, mentioned Prop 29. So
28, yeah. I didn't wanna-
28, music and arts.
Yeah.
So do we have any idea how much will we be getting for that?
Yeah, we do. I remember it's in my other folder for the current budget year. I brought last year's budget. It's, I've sent it to the school sites. It's on the magnitude of 250 to 260,000 per school site. Prop 28, yeah. Right around there. So the state has a calculation because it's every school site, even Alta Vista, gets a certain allocation for this based upon enrollment numbers. So there's a formula behind it. And then the plans are supposed to be developed at the school site level. And we haven't actually received any of those funds yet, right? Okay, just want to double check. We do have 3 years to spend this first round of money. And just, I want to make sure we clarify, this is for everyone listening, Prop 28, which was a separate ballot measure that folks voted on in the state of California last fall, separate from one-time state money that, in my opinion, they didn't do the best job of titling the arts, music, and instructional materials discretionary block grant. Both have arts and music in their title, but 2 different funding sources. One is one time, one is ongoing through a funding mechanism at the state level. So It's coming and we hope to incorporate that information in future presentations. Yeah.
And on SELPA, so the fund is still based on ADA, it's not based on number of special ed students, right? For on SELPA.
Correct. Yeah, it's total district.
Total district,
ADA. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Elvis, for those. Okay. All right, so this is an action item. So can I get a motion?
I move that we certify the 22-23 unaudited actual financial report.
No second.
Okay, moved by Kaiser, second by Esme. Christoph, how would you vote?
I approve.
All right, Sadie,
I approve.
all right, and I will, if we can vote online. All right, the motion passes 4-0. All right, so board suggestions for future board meetings, 2.1. Any suggestions for future board meetings? Nope, all right. Next, we have communication correspondence.
I did want to share with the public, and I know the board today received an invitation from the city of Mountain View for a tour of the Shoreline Regional Park Community Board. They are currently in the process of asking us when we are available, preferably on September 29th. And this comes to us from Allison Hicks, president of the Regional Park Community Board of Directors, but the mayor of Mountain View. So I'll pass this around to those who have an interest, and you also have it on your email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, this next meeting, our next meeting is Tuesday, September 26th is our next meeting. Now we're at a point where we can adjourn the meeting.
I move that we adjourn.
All right,
Second.
moved by Catherine, second by Peter. Sadie,
I approve.
you approve? Christoph?
Approve.
Right. All those in favor?
I'm sorry, I have to get to the break.
And then